In this video, I'm going to share some simple psychology tricks that you can use to make people more likely to agree with you. These techniques are going to improve your communication and your ability to persuade others during everyday conversation. And if you're new here, I'm Amber, and I have a degree in psychology. On this channel, I help people discover how psychology influences our thoughts, behaviors, and our everyday experiences. If that's something that interests you, hit the subscribe button and stick around. Okay, let's jump in. When asking a question and you want the person to say yes, nod your head slightly as you ask it. Waiters use this trick all the time at restaurants to get people to agree to more food. Are you guys going to want some dessert? But on the other hand, if they need to clear the table, then they do the trick in reverse. They nod their head this way while asking. Are you guys going to want some dessert? Just that little subtle nod actually is quite effective. If you arrive late to something, don't say, "Oh, sorry I'm late." Instead say, "Thank you for your patience." This gives the impression that you were held up by something. It makes the person feel more respected and like you value their time but were legitimately held up. If you're entering a new situation like a new job or a new class at school and you want one of your peers to like you, just ask them a question. Ask them to explain something to you. Even if you already know the answer, this breaks the ice and it helps build rapport with the other person. It makes you seem more open to connecting with them, and they'll be more likely to consider you part of the inner circle. If someone says something offensive, ask them to explain what they mean. For example, insert sexist joke here. Just say "I don't understand. Can you explain what you mean by that?" They'll immediately feel a sense of shame and awkwardness, especially if there are other people around. Don't start questions with "can you" or "could you." For instance, don't say "can you pick me up after work?" Instead, phrase it with "please." More like a statement. "Please pick me up after work." Structuring your question in the form of a polite statement rather than a question makes people more likely to agree with you. If you want someone to remember something, don't use the word forget. For example, don't say, "Don't forget to lock the door." Instead, say, "Remember to lock the door." Just like if they're carrying a liquid, don't say, "Try not to spill it." Instead, say, "Keep it steady," because now the word steady is on their mind and they'll be focusing on that rather than the word spill. If someone is avoiding answering your question, stop and pause. That silence will feel uncomfortable, so they'll want to fill it up by talking and talking. And they'll start rambling, and they'll give you more details than they would have otherwise. They also might take your silence as a sign that you already know the answer, and they'll feel like they have to fess up since you already know what happened. When moving through large crowds, like leaving a concert or a packed subway, stare directly forward rather than looking at the people around you, and take large, confident steps. People will just move out of your way. They'll just part out of your way. Another thing that works is loudly saying that you have to throw up, because people tend to move out of the way really fast when you say that in large crowds. If you want someone to do something for you, casually say that they probably can't do it. They'll enjoy proving others wrong when it comes to doubting their capabilities. I've used this on my niece before. "Bet you can't reach that." Yeah, she can reach it. She can get it herself. Similarly, if you have a favor to ask, make it seem bigger than it actually is. It'll make the person more likely to help after realizing how simple it is compared to what they had dreamt up in their head. "Hey, I've got a favor." "Oh, really? What is it?" "Can you get me a glass of water?" "Oh, yeah, absolutely." If someone is staring at you and you want them to stop, start coughing. They'll look away immediately. If someone is about to escalate into an argument with you, say something nice to them. It immediately disarms them and de-escalates things. If there's a big task that, say, your kids keep putting off, and you can use this on yourself too, break it into smaller pieces and tell yourself to just do one aspect of it. For example, instead of telling them to clean up their entire room, set the goal at just clearing the top of their desk. Once that's done, then tell them to hang up their shirts. And before you know it, things will be getting done. It's a lot easier to keep going once you've already started, and sometimes we just procrastinate because we feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of the task. If someone made a mistake and you don't want them to feel super defensive, change the way you word things when you bring it up. For example, instead of saying, "You forgot to lock the door," say, "Hey, the door was unlocked." They're still going to learn from the mistake, but it's not going to feel like a confrontation. If you know of any other little simple psychology tricks that work, share them in the comments below. And please hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.